And I do start the process of showing you the presentation. I hope everyone sees it now. Is that all right? Just give me a little signal, then I know. Okay, good.
Yes,
So
good.
yes, thank you very much, and thank you for the introductory comments on AI guidelines. And this is exactly, Arnie, what we were also thinking about when we started in our large organization, how to deal with AI. ChatGPT, if I remind you, is more than 2 years old now, and it hit the floor in 22, November 22, where we all were amazed, at least I was, on what's possible and what this new era of AI application holds also for us. So at our organization, we were putting our heads together on what to do with it. And I can quickly go through these slides because you've touched on this, Arnie, already, that there are also reports out on how productive AI is and also how unproductive AI can come. So these are two reports which I would just briefly touch on. We all like the right one, where we see great increase on productivity and time savings and all sorts of efficiencies for the organizations, also for ours. But there are also other voices which say people are overwhelmed with it and they don't really know what to do. And these reports actually caution everyone on not to be too enthusiastic about it, but look at the subject with much more care. So we were also in our organization challenged with what is going on, and the subject of shadow AI, I also put it down because this was a big one. We all know that there are change agents in the organizations. We all have them, and they have already used it and thought this is the way forward, and they've applied whatever was possible on ChatGPT and other tools and applied their work subjects into their private homes and did whatever was possible. So as an organization, we felt we need to do something about it. And this cannot be left to the private homes to deal with the subject. It's an organizational responsibility to look after employees and organizations which deal with AI. And also for the vulnerable groups we are supposed to take care of. This is a big subject which we need to look into. So concerns about this new something was one of the big tasks to take seriously. And we have come to the conclusion AI will not go away. This will be part of our future, and we have to deal with it in a responsible way. So we came up with guidelines. These pillars you already are aware of. How can we use AI ethically? What role and transformational changes are taking place in the social work and the daily activities of our social workers in the field? What do they deal with? What about data protection? Germany, a big thing. What about data protection? What about sensitive data? What about health data? How do we cope with that? And the big promise is that repetitive tasks can be automated and we can get rid of this burden of administration which is growing into our lives. So the guidelines we tried to give ourselves had actually 5 major points. We were trying to deal with that subject in a responsible and ethical way. That was a big motivator. We also concluded we don't want a legal text. We don't want a legal document. We want orientation and some sort of framework guidance more comparable with a UN resolution and not with a law book. We felt it needs to be a good, concise document, not too lengthy, but easy and handleable to use. And I can link you the document we came up with later on. And the target was to reduce this uncertainty about what is this and how can people and employees apply this to their daily work. And the last but very important thing is we cannot be 100% right here. It is an experimental phase. We have an 80-20 rule, and it needs to be reviewed once in a while. It's not something which will last for the next 5 years. So again, 2 years ago, that was all new to us, and we have to review this in a regular time frame according to the new technology, which is already, I think, familiar to us, which hits the roof every month. Another big point was recognizing that the internet and also AI will be full of biases, also on the vulnerable groups we deal with. So we won't find the exact answer in the internet, which is the feeder and the base data of AI application, and all the legal documents, compliance issues, and what is out there in terms of standardization. Our work has to be dealt with in a balanced way. Organizational wise, we met in a focal group to look into this subject, which was not that easy actually to pull a group together in our organization, which could meet up weekly. We had an hour meeting to put our heads together. That whole process lasted 7 weeks and was a very broad participation of all the departments of the organization. We are a very big organization. I mentioned that earlier, of about 850 employees based off the National Social Service for Germany, the big association Diakonie I'm with, also the international organization Bread for the World, and Diakonie Katastrophenhilfe, which is the emergency arm of our system. We had a big discussion group aside of that focal group, which dealt with the guideline exploration, which addressed all employees to participate in the process and join in with thoughts and also concerns on what has to be looked out for. And very important, we did tests, a lot of tests in very different departments to try out and let people get a feel and an own experience on how AI works for them in their very practical work. And then the specific guidelines, you see a little snapshot here on the right side. Again, it's a concise document. We will provide you with that later on. It was meant to address the organizational goals. We had to also agree that the method has to be laid out. How did we deal with these guidelines? How did they evolve in our organization? We put down a lot of stakeholders in the process, so the guidelines not only apply for our own organization, but also for all our contract partners, our partners in the field, our alliances. So whenever we deal with contracts and basically legal partnerships, we make this part of how we use AI. We expect our partners to also deal with that in the same manner, and it has become part of our agreements. And also communication was a big key. We need to talk about it. We need to talk, and you see all that in my presentation later. We need to say what AI has been applied in what context and what has been used. I run a bit out of time, I see that, but let me quickly go through the also risk analysis, which we were going through. A big point, I said that earlier, was what is sensitive data, what is protective data. We also put that on in our rule set, and the legal requirements. That was a big framework for us in general, not also in connection with AI, is the data protection law of Germany, which is a little wider even for the Protestant churches. There's another layer to it, to this federal law, and there are also several orders which have to be complied with when we deal with AI. As a rule of thumb, which is very highlighted in the guideline extract, is don't give any data into an AI system which you wouldn't share with anyone out of the street. So we would like to be very conscious about the data which has been put into an AI system, and the rule of thumb is don't put data in which you wouldn't share with anyone else anyhow. So if we go with these kind of basic rule set, we can pretty much apply what has been dealt with in a daily application. Some summaries of the whole process, and I was part of that when it started 2 years ago, is that it takes much longer to come up with guidelines as you had thought. We thought it's an easy process, and we underestimated how much concerns are actually in the organization. And unexpectedly, most concerns came of our IT department, not from the unions, not from the legal people, but from the IT department, which was very afraid that there is some open gate now into US spy systems, and we can't get hold of it. So all employees, all stakeholder groups of the organization have to be part of this. Otherwise, you will overlook people and build up some issues in the organization which you cannot deal with later on. Acceptance and accountability was key, also to acknowledge where we are, what we are as an organization, and how AI can help us in our daily activities. We had to recognize that we are all learners. We are all in a learning journey here, and hierarchy levels don't matter because we were all new to the system and new to the whole program as such. Allow testing, I put that down. I think that's crucial, even though now after this experience which was built up in the organization, testing is key. Otherwise, you cannot speak with mandate about what's going on. And very important for us, as we think we can do it all in-house, this step required professional help by organizations which know how the technology works, which can consult us on a professional level. And we don't have to learn from scratch. We can ask for help on this subject, and this is a major learning for us in the organization. So if I have 2 more minutes, I can probably enlarge this to a wider group because based on these house internal guidelines, we expanded that lesson learned into the wider Diakonie Association, and that project just came to an end yesterday. It was a 4-month project which we've done in 24. I put down 2 more slides on what Diakonie is, so I skip through that, but you can have the presentation later on. And in this AI project, which involved not only us as the Federal Association, but also expanded the whole testing phase into a much wider audience and sections of our social work in Germany. We used those guidelines which were developed in-house to a broader sense of the Diakonie system in Germany. That allowed us to look much more specifically in special areas of social work in Germany and expanded the universe of AI beyond ChatGPT. So we also used Mistral and Claude in this testing phase on seeing where differences are and if there's any difference basically in the results and outcome which we apply. With this project phase, we were able to attract a number of employees, as I said, outside of our own organization. These were about 290, which is a project in itself, actually. It comprised 130 different organizations of the Diakonie universe in Germany, where we were helped by a software company, Brandung, which opened basically a service contract to OpenAI and the other organizations which offer AI tools to have some sort of bottleneck on how we can enter into this universe. We had several clusters of groups which looked into very specific areas of applications and came up with so-called use cases on how AI can help, especially in the care and elderly assistance segment, also in public relations work, fundraising, grants acquisition. So we developed together a system and how AI tools can help us in our very daily work. The potential was for both sides, and I'm very happy that we had so much encouragement in the background. We concluded for the German government and for all our stakeholders we deal with on guidelines and legal exploration. We have a much more bottom-up result here and can present the voices from the association and direct members. Direct benefits to the members. You've seen that from the introduction. Of course, it is important to involve people and let them interact with each other. Otherwise, you are in a very lonely universe in applying AI. So that's it. And here are the tools which I use for this presentation. I hope I'm still in time. Thank you very much.